Love, blessings, peace, and prosperity, divine, beautiful soul. What is good in your world? It's me, Nicole P, your spiritual barista, serving up wisdom, guidance, and inspiration from the cards. What I have for you in this video, my love, is the energy reading for this week ahead. I have three tarot and three oracle cards, and I'm going to be 100 with you. I already shuffled and pulled the cards because I made a video. But the thing is I beeped and blurped and did all of the things. I got so focused on trying to make it like a video and just so focused that I was messing up. And then I'm just like, forget this noise. I'm not going to try to be anyone else but myself. I'm just going to press play and I'm just going to talk into this microphone. By the way, I am giving off like very much like, hello, welcome to Cafecito and Tarot. This is your tarot advice line. How can I help you type of vibes? My friend had a whole bunch of these because they retired and their office was like all these like what they consider piddly little things like headphones and some other pieces. There were like mouses and keyboards. They're like, you can take it. We could take it. And so I was like, "Oof," I got a surplus of headphones and extra keyboard and mouse. Love it. And so I'm really liking this. I think though I'm going to decorate it. I think I'm going to decorate it, like maybe paint it pink and add some flowers here and there. But let's get into the cards. Enough about me. Enough about me. Let's get into the cards. And before we do, I had to get a sip of my cafecito. I'm drinking a blend called, I think it's called Peace. Peace coffee, Peace, Bus, and it's a morning breakfast blend, which breakfast blends are like my favorite. And mm, I got it at my local co-op. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So Peace, fair trade, at least that's what they say. Hoping that is legit, um, and that it's organic. It's good. It's good stuff. So mm, Peace coffee, love it. So my love, let's get into the cards. Let's get into the cards. Okay, let me put the cafecito down. Hold on. I use the True Heart Intuitive Tarot, and I am also using the Shamanic Medicine cards, okay? And I want to just acknowledge this, okay? I just really want to acknowledge the times that we are living in, and I want to send love and prayers your way, okay? Love and prayers your way. I want to remind you to do what you need to do to protect your peace, to ensure that you have rest, that it's okay to tap out. Don't forget to tap back in. Never lose sight of your dreams, your imagination, and how that's connected to collective dreams of liberation, of joy, peace, love, ease, and all the good shit. Okay? So this week, I send you so much love. Okay? Now, with that said, let's get into the cards. So this was the exact order that I pulled them in. It was the Eight of Swords, the Magician, and the Three of Swords. Once again, Eight of Swords, Magician, and Three of Swords. Don't mind my nail polish. I gotta like take it off and like repolish my nails. And then here we go. And I'm gonna show you and share with you the message of the oracle cards, but afterwards. And I'm telling you, I know so many people love to see the shuffle, and I these really came out this way. And there's no way that it could have all like synchronized so beautifully. So this is a really, really, really important message for this week ahead. And I think this applies for us personally and also collectively. I like to just tell you or remind you, if you've hung out with me before or if we're new, that I focus on tarot as a tool for self reflection, for self evolution, transmutation, not for sake of the collective, but rather how one can realize potential and purpose and peace and love and the individual level and how it's tied into the tapestry and the larger collective. So I want to make that very, very clear. A lot of times the messages that I share are also applicable to the collective. And I do focus on the interpersonal workings and energy and medicine messages of the interpersonal um, not development, unfolding, flourishing, because I don't like that word development. I think flourishing. Okay. Mm. So with these three cards, I think first of all, let's go in the order that that I had pulled them in with the Eight of Swords. Now, this is a card that is a, when you look at it, you're like, oh my gosh, I think we've all been there before at some point in time where you feel really stuck. You feel constrained, right? You feel like, oh, there's just no way out of this situation. There's no way out of this situation. That's a horrible feeling to have. That is really a really hard feeling to have. And when the Eight of Swords comes up, the card is a mirror. It's an invitation to look in the mirror. It's an invitation to tap in and tune into your breath, into your body. Now, because the thing is you may not see a way out, but there is a way out. You may not see with your eyes, but in your gut, in your stomach, in your third eye, coming in energy from spirit above and below, you have the ability to tune in, to hear, see, and feel an alternative or a way out, so to speak. The other really important message about this card, it coincides with what I just said, is that this card is a reminder that just because what you chose got you where you are now doesn't mean that you don't have the opportunity to choose again. That doesn't mean that you have to stay stuck. Do you feel me? This is a card that's inviting you to look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm cognizant and aware of the past choices that I've made and where I am right now. I'm going to tune in and tap into where I have power, where I have agency in my life in order to make a change. I am going to also release any resistance to change because sometimes we keep ourselves here because we're resistant to the change. We fear the change, although we crave it so much. And I'm not trying to say that, or I shouldn't say I'm not trying, I'm not saying that um, it's not valid to have fear of that change, right? But you got to acknowledge, I fear this change. I want the change. I fear it. Like this is a total card, especially with the magician following is that, the ball is in your court. The ball is in your court. There comes a time where we really like one has to, you have to, I've had to do it in my life. We have to do it even collectively, excuse me, to say, you know what? This is where we're at and this is why we got to where we're at and we don't want to stay here. So what's the way forward? What's the path forward? You know? And it's a card that says open your eyes. Like until you become aware and you really tune in to become aware, you're not going to make the change and you're not going to even see what's possible until you bring awareness to that, until you realize no matter what, you have the power to make the change. Tap into the areas in your life where you do have agency. Now, I understand it might be like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do this change. I don't know how this is going to happen. Maybe I don't have this or I don't have that. I got it, right? No one's saying for you to take inventory of what you don't have. Rather, the message is to take inventory of what you already have and how you're going to transmute that. How are you going to use that as fuel to uplift out of what constrains you, right? There's a song, right? It's like the Eagles, and there's it's just a lyric, like one snippet of this song that always stuck with me. And it's so oftentimes we have it that we live our life in chains without even knowing we've had the key or something like that. So oftentimes we have it, we live our life in chains and we never even know we had the key, right? So that's that message. Like you have the key some way, shape, or form. And what happens with this Three of Swords, and you're like, oh my gosh, how come the Three of Swords came up? I thought it was like this empowering message of the magician. All of a sudden we have the Three of Swords. And yes, the thing is this, until you own up to this shit, until you be like, I want to heal. I want to work on this part of myself. You're going to stay in this. And it takes time though. But you have to be able to willing to say, this is going to hurt. This is going to be hard, but I can't live like this anymore. So I am going to consciously and I'm going to start slowly pulling out these swords because this does not work for me anymore. And until you get to the point where like something has got to change and sometimes you hit rock bottom and then it's like, oh shoot, I got to do something. I have to make a change. So my love, that's what the energy is for this week coming ahead. It's like, how do you stay rooted? And that's why this magician is in the middle. here. It's about really staying rooted to the center of your truth and really acknowledging, even if you just don't know how powerful you are, just trying to be like, I try really, really hard. I guess that I shouldn't say that try. I remember I used to work in the schools and they said, don't try. There's no try, like Yoda. They used to use that phrase a lot. There's no such thing as trying or something, like you just got to do it. But this like invitation to really, really, really have a devotional practice to connect to the areas that you have power, right? And focus on those. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. You don't need to know how you're going to get out, but you have to first start bringing awareness and take inventory of the power that you have, what you have available to you. It doesn't happen overnight, but that's why that 3 of Swords is there. It's like you have to. You have to. And sometimes it's the hardest part. And I think that's why people don't like to do those changes. Sometimes it's the hardest part where you have to look in the mirror and you have to say to yourself, oh, shoot, yeah, I fucked up. Excuse my language, right? But we learn, right? And we pivot and we move. And maybe it wasn't the best choice, but here you are. What are you going to do differently? What are you going to do differently to switch course, to pivot? What are you going to do differently? And I think there's going to be a lot of realizations for us in this week ahead. And I think that even if you don't have a realization of what I just about right in this week, I think like sometimes it's like just a spark. I think this week is going to spark a lot of that. Like, wait a minute, I'm not really happy with this. I feel really stuck. Wait, is there another way? Is there? And a lot of times I'm telling you, yes, there is. Yes, there is. Okay, so now let me share with you the 3 oracle cards I pulled. Very interesting. Very interesting. So the first one that came up was Medicine Wheel. Continuation. The card is continuation. So that's a message of like not giving up. Even if you feel stuck, even if you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, don't give up. Like there's a continuation. Like this is at the end of the story. There's more to it. So keep going and coming into circle, coming to that center of your truth, center of your spirit, and just feeling into your body and imagining what would it be like if you had the answers. You know, I think so much, and that's where that sword energy, that air energy comes from. The way that we communicate to ourselves can really block us from the answers and from the wisdom and the guidance. You know, what are the messages? What are the next steps? Spirit, allow me to be open and clear so I hear, feel, and know my next steps. Because you do have some. And look at this. Endurance. The 4-legged endurance. This was so much a theme during Capricorn season, right? Capricorn offers us that slow, steady earth energy. And so carrying that over into the rest of the cycles in this calendar year. How do you tend to your medicine and your magic? How do you tend to yourself and sustain yourself for the endurance? Because it doesn't happen just overnight, right? It's a process and it's a journey and it hurts. And it's what you got to do. It is what it is, you know, it is what it is. And if you choose not to, then consciously make that choice. Say, I'm going to consciously not make that choice to change. Or I'm consciously prolonging my change, in my opinion, right? There's something because when you keep it saying, yeah, and you brush it off and you stuff it down, it's going to come up. It's going to come up regardless. It's going to come up. The third message is renewal, birth. Now, this is a message of hope, right? So I want you to keep this word, renewal, rebirth, the energy of the magician, as anchors, as roots for this week. Rebirth. You always have a chance at rebirth. The thing is sometimes you need to stay and sit in that space of death in order to be able to emerge once again. And collectively, we're in this space a lot of death and destruction right now. So how do we sit? How do we honor? How do we be and also open? We have to sit with that, right? We want quick fixes, and there's not always quick fixes in this. It's evolution, it's transmutation, it's transformation. And it's really important to be able to find ways that you don't beat yourself up, that you have grace and compassion for the choices that you made that got you where you are now, because you did the best that you could, given any circumstances. And I want to remind you that if you're needing support to go deeper in this work, please seek out the assistance, the guidance from community members, like really having discernment with either elders or other healers in your community. And a great, great, great therapist is phenomenal. So I wish you a week that is that holds you, and I hope that these words have found you in some way, shape, or form and have made sense and come into your heart. I want you to take what leaves and take what leaves, take what flows, and leave what doesn't. And that's what I got for you for this week. So I will be here on the regular with quick daily brews, daily tarot, 1 minute readings. And thank you for tuning in for the energy of this week. I want to remind you once again of your power, of your medicine, and your magic. And there's a multitude of ways that this comes and presents in our lives. Okay, so take care for yourself. Lots of spells of protection and peace. Okay. Thank you for tuning in.